afternoon, everybody. My name is Natalya. I work for ICL System Technologies. And my plan today is to tell you about software and hardware suites, the way you develop them, and the way you use them. So let's start by looking at how hardware and software suites, here enough to refer to as packs, are developed.
Мы немножко совсем остановимся на
Packs in the
разработке паков
Russian market and how the packs are developed in ICL companies and how packs are used as a product
который сейчас есть на рынке.
that we have today in the market. And the first
Направление
thing
развития программно-аппаратных комплексов я буду использовать для удобства
I will
аббревиатуру
use abbreviation
Я думаю,
PAC
что
for better use. I know that Program and Apparatus Complex, everybody heard this abbreviation
есть такие,
or
кто не
not.
слышал.
Is there anyone who
Так, ну,
haven't heard that?
рук.
Well, there are a couple of hands here. Okay, PAC or
это
Program Apparatus Complex.
собственно, продукт, который может
This is a product
как на базе какого-то клиентского оборудования
that can be used on the base of customers' hardware, notebooks, say, or on the base of servers,
представляете
or
себе еще более комплексное решение, то есть
can be even more complex solution, say ATMs. ATMs are complex packs that consist of several packs,
как вы видите
or
на слайде внизу,
the ones that you can see on the slide on the bottom.
врача, медицинского специалиста.
This is a briefcase of a doctor.
Это
The
продукт, который
Program Apparatus Complex is a product that has
что-то, что можно физически
equipment, hardware, something you can touch.
На нем же установлено
And
определенное программное обеспечение,
It also has software
некоторый набор функций.
that allows it to
То есть
perform
под
certain functions.
программно-аппаратным комплексом
When I say Program
такие
and Apparatus Complex, these are the products
аппаратную часть
that have equipment
тот
part
софт, который
and
позволяет
software
выполнять бизнес-функции.
that allows them to perform business functions. From the point of view of regulations,
Сервер,
and
вообще вся радиоэлектронная
any server
продукция, которая имеет хотя бы
and
какое-то
any radio and electronic products that have any
Но с точки зрения рынка, с точки зрения
software, they will be considered a PAC.
все-таки
So from the point of view of the market or a layman, it's we understand that these are the solutions where they have such software that allows you to perform some business tasks. Here on the screen, you can see several terms
по
in Russian,
понятию, но в то же время не синоним.
quite similar
То есть
in
вообще
their
как явление на рынке давно, как
meaning,
термин в русском языке,
but not
он
the
известен
same.
еще с советских
PAC,
времен.
in the
То
market,
есть, вторые
people
паки,
know
то есть это были какие-то комплексы
back in the Soviet
для
time,
психологов, для врачей, для
software
учителей,
and
для инженеров,
equipment
то есть,
complexes,
которые
they
имели
were
какую-то узкую
for
направленность.
engineers,
Сейчас паки
for
тоже
teachers,
бывают
and they were
узконаправленные,
pretty
бывают
specific. So
более
now
универсальные.
they can be more specific and
Как
can
вы
be more
думаете,
universal, these packs.
в зарубежных странах, ну, прежде
What do you
всего,
think in foreign
в развитых
countries,
странах, паки
in
есть?
developed countries? Do they have packs
Паки как явление есть, но они так не
as
называются. И
a
поэтому, если
phenomenon,
будете
but they are not
смотреть
called like
и
this?
искать
That's why
на
if you're
английском
gonna
языке,
look for them, if you try to find in English
что-то
how it's
в
called,
виде,
something similar,
program and software,
program and
hardware
software,
and software complex,
hardware and
то
software
вы точно
complex,
попадете на переведенную статью, которая написана
I'm sure that's it a translated article
потому
translated
что
by Russian researchers
позиционирование этих решений, оно в принципе
because
другое.
they position these solutions completely differently.
На слайде вы видите несколько
And on the slide, you can see similar terms that they use, and this is what they call the systems.
Хотя, конечно, все мы с вами знаем, до недавнего времени были
And we
популярны
know all
на рынке тоже машины баз данных, то есть это
in our market, they were also popular, these machine databases at a classical PAC. But they position this like embedded systems, and they have these systems.
Поэтому
And therefore,
российский рынок в этом не является чем-то
Russian
особенным.
market
То, что у нас
is not
есть
something peculiar.
И появляются нормативные документы.
Over the last 2 years, they're talking about it, and there are some legal norms in the area of creating PACs and creating these embedded systems. It's not something new for the market. It's an attempt
были, и, может быть, придать им новую форму.
to give kind of a new shape for those practices. There are many components today, and one of the problems is this is the compatibility of many Russian solutions, Russian hardware solutions with Russian software solutions. It's not a secret that infrastructure of any enterprise is pretty complex list of different elements, and many Russian companies, they were developing their solutions at a certain point, trying to stay in a certain niche,
будет встроен в уже имеющуюся инфраструктуру, будет
expecting that their product will be integrated in infrastructure that already exists, where key points are taken by foreign software. That's why the idea was for the Russian solutions to be integrated, to be integratable, so to speak. The situation changed over the last few years. Before that, it wasn't a secret that you need to create a single whole from all these solutions. That's why there was a market of system integration. But how to do it, especially when in the market
меньше решений, когда уходят
you have less solutions,
иностранные производители,
when foreign providers leave, so demand grows. And if we look at statistics, even for 2024, among the expectations in terms of tools of protection, after AI, there is more uniformity. This is the demand that they have. Simplicity in operation. And solutions should be hybrids. So, and this demand shows you that Russian market is moving towards hardware and software complexes. And all companies, they bump into this. It would be great, though, to have it simpler, lighter, faster. Over the last few years, PACs, those hardware and software complexes, it's like a buzzword. This term has more weight. You can see this term in legal norms. Out of all these terms that you've seen on the slide, before this, now we have only one term, that it's hardware and software complex. I'm talking about the Russian-speaking area, territories. So that's why this kind of fight against this incompatibility of Russian hardware and software. So this is the first and the main trend of development of PACs in the Russian market. PACs, hardware and software complex. In the registry of Russian software, we have more than 60 operation systems. That, roughly speaking, they're all Russian, but any producer that brings a new solution to the Russian market, they won't be able to ensure compatibility with all the solutions. They probably work with 10 of them, but in the market we have 60. And with other classes of software, the picture is similar. That's why area number one with PACs is fight against incompatibility. We can see this in partnership conferences. We hear this from our competitors and partners. So they're trying to fight this incompatibility. They're trying to ensure compatibility. And this is one of the trends of working in the Russian IT market. And this fight, so to speak, this work is not always easy. So sometimes we just check things. We see if compatibility is there. If not, we have to get this compatibility. We need to bring the team of development. It's either our developments or our partners' developments. Or many companies had this experience when you have to find some sort of bypasses, ways around it.
скорость, простота, чтобы
But clients,
всё
they need
работало,
speed,
желательно
simplicity,
с минимальным количеством каких-то дополнительных настроек.
and
И
it should be
второе
working
направление
without any
развития
extra
PAC
settings.
сейчас — это
And another area of development
оформление,
of packs, of hardware and software complexes, this is
этого класса решений во
positioning
всей
this
российском
type
IT-рынке.
of solutions in the
Сейчас уже
Russian
ощущение,
IT
что
market.
фактически мы говорим о
Right now,
создании
there is
нового
an opinion
сегмента
that we're
IT-рынка.
talking about new
И
segment
это
of IT
подтверждает,
market.
во-первых, развитие нормативной
And it
базы.
is proved
Первые
by the
инициативы экспертного
legal norms
сообщества
that are
были в
introduced
2021 году.
in the market. The first initiatives were from the IT community in 2021.
И поэтому вы
In 2022, they had a new push to do that. And in 2023, there was a number of very important regulations,
приказа Минцифры об утверждении
starting with the
классификаторов.
order of Ministry of
То есть сейчас уже мы точно знаем на рынке, какие
Digits.
классы решений
We
будут
know
считаться
what
паками,
classes of solutions
какие
will be
паки могут
considered
быть.
as PACs,
Дальше в
as
ноябре выходит
hardware and
постановление о
software
правилах
complexes. So then in
перехода,
November,
порядке перехода
there was a
субъектов
new
ТИ
decree
на преимущественное
of
использование
how
вот этих программно-аппаратных комплексов.
entities
Появляется новый
of
даже термин «доверенный программно-аппаратный
CII
комплекс».
will
Доверенный
be
программно-аппаратный
transferring
комплекс —
to
это
the trusted
такое решение, где
PAC.
аппаратная часть российского
This is such a
производства,
solution where the
покрытая
equipment, the
элементами
hardware
PAC,
of a
и
Russian
программная
uh,
часть,
producer
она
and the
тоже
software
российского
part
производства по
should be
критериям
also
Минцифры.
Russia
Ну и
produced
для паков, которые выполняют
according to
функцию
the
ФСБ,
criteria of the Ministry of
обязательно
Digital.
еще есть один критерий — это наличие сертификата ФСБ в стек. Вот такие
And
паки,
also they
они
need
считаются доверенными, они могут быть установлены
certificate of FSB
органы
stack.
государственной власти и
So
субъекты
these
ТИ.
packs could
Ну,
be
кроме этого,
installed
конечно,
in the government
вот эти изменения,
bodies.
они находятся в одной конве со стратегией развития
And I
электронных
have to say
промышленности
that these
Российской
changes
Федерации.
are in the
И вот
same
вы
sort
можете
of
видеть, что
area with the
появился
development
из
of
первых 3
Russian
положительные
electronic
направления стандарта.
industry.
Пока в
And
сфере
you can see
терминологии
we have the
эта модель
first
ожидается будет еще
national
много.
standard, and we're expecting 2 more to come.
Таким образом, фактически легализация программных
In other words,
комплексов
now
на
they're
российском IT-рынке
legalizing
является вторым направлением развития. Ну, здесь вы
the
видите
hardware and software
какие-то
complexes in the
сферы,
Russian IT
которые
market.
в ближайшее время тоже будут.
They're making them legitimate.
Работа по ним ведется на рынке. Ну, в том числе это создание, конечно, экономических стимулов, то есть уравнивание
They're
производителей.
working on them in the market, and of course, they're trying to
Вернее, до недавнего времени у нас
provide
были
equal
льготы для аккредитованных IT-компаний, были для производителей железа.
equal
вот для тех, кто
positions
делает
for
какие-то
all players in the
комплексные
market,
решения,
those
они
who are
выпадают
providing
из
complex
этого.
solutions.
Вторая часть моего доклада — это
The second part of my presentation is the development of PAC based on ICL. We've been working on this
уже давно,
in some way
с точки
long
зрения
ago,
исследовательского интереса,
and as
того,
part
что
of our
нашим командам постоянно хочется
research interest. Our teams always want to come up with something
такое, чтобы можно было сказать,
that we can say. So, was it possible?
Но, конечно, события последних лет, они подстегнули все эти процессы.
And the events of the last years
Поэтому у нас сейчас достаточно
kinda
большое количество паков в
push
разработке.
those processes. So we have many
По
packs in
одним
development right
пакам
now.
мы просто получаем сертификат
With one packs, we get
продуктов, и этого
the certificate
достаточно.
of compatibility of
Другие мы
products,
готовим
and
для
that's enough.
регистрации в реестре.
And the others, we're
Например,
preparing to be registered in the registry, the PAC monitoring department of IT infrastructure.
На базе
It's based on ICL servers
партнеров.
and based on the
Конечно, мы
software of our
стараемся,
partners. And of course,
учитывать
we
задачи
try
оптимизации в
to
максимальной степени.
keep
Пока
in
мы
mind
видим, что
the
чаще всего оптимизацию удается добиться на уровне
targets
операционных
of optimization.
Поэтому мы
And you
будем в
often can
дальнейшем
do optimization on the level of
активно
operation
работать с
systems. And
производителями
in the
операционных
future,
систем,
we will work even more
чтобы
with the producers of operation systems
совмещать решения не только на функциональном уровне,
to
но
be
и
able to
глубже уходя,
bring together
используя
solutions
все
not only
доступные
functional level,
механизмы
but kind of going deeper using
технические,
all the possible
организационные.
mechanisms, both technical and organizational.
Вот, и, собственно, да, если вы
So
сейчас посмотрите,
if
то
you look
у группы компании ICL уже есть в реестре зарегистрированы
at what we
паки.
have,
Мы
and
тоже
the group
движемся
of
в
companies of
этом направлении.
we have ICL
Ну
packs,
и дальше я
and
хотела
we're
бы
moving in that
поговорить
direction.
про
And then
особенности разработки и
I would
использования
like to talk
программно-аппаратных
about
комплексов. То, что
how
мы
we
сейчас
use
видим
these complexes. And
в
what we
ходе
see
реализации
now
проектов, в ходе
as part of realization of this project
подготовки как мы видим изменения на рынке, что
how we
происходит,
see
ну и,
changes in
может
the
быть,
market,
стимулировать вас задавать вопросы, потому что экспертизы в этой сфере
stimulating you and asking questions.
У нас сейчас в реестре ПАКов
In the registry of PACs, we have 240 entries,
по одной записи.
and many companies have more entries, and companies that have this experience, there are not so many actually.
Собственно, создание
So,
и работа с программно-аппаратными комплексами, она отличается
creating and working with the program complexes, it's different from the project work. We see it as system integrator. So that's why I'll start this part
представить, ну или напомнить некоторые элементы.
to remind you some elements, and one of the variants is plan of project work. So we start with the product,
нужно каких-то специализированных.
and if we need some specialized product,
Дальше идем на пилотный проект, иногда он есть.
then we go to the pilot product, and then
решение, допустим, о том, что проект
we need to make a decision that the project will be, and we need to introduce it and to work on it. And these companies,
по-другому можно сказать, да, производители вот этих работ,
producers of this work,
этих продуктов, они начинают получать, скажем так, основной объем работ, да, для своих специалистов, основной объем денежных средств на последних двух этапах.
Main volume of work is done on the last stages. Implementation, operation, these things sometimes are stretched out in time, and also payments. Payments can also be regular, especially when we do operation and speaking about the technical support. One standard plan to build a pack may be distinctive, and despite the fact like the stage by stage changes may not be substantial, on the next slides we'll be speaking about the risk redistribution and financial flows redistributions, and you'll see that it's more tangible.
Несмотря на то, что здесь тоже все начинается с выявления.
First of all, that despite we identify the needs and looking for components, if the client is not happy with a standard solution, next, quite a big amount of work will be checking assumptions about the product functioning and about its technical, features of how different components for business goals will be working together. What will be productivity, what hardware, and how they are going to function together. And also the product formalizing. That is how it all together going to be working as like a one unified organism. So at this stage, we get a lot of undercurrents and problems that have to be solved. Whereas the final solution about the product supply and buying has not been made. We are speaking only about potential market capabilities and what clients may want. So this stage is quite indicative. More often, it's been assembled on a stand. It's a pack on servers. You identify servers with all the equipment if needed. And if it's a pack on some other devices, then you do them and you do this kind of work on formalizing this product.
Поставка продукта.
Next, product supply. From the standpoint of philosophy, methodology, it's a software and hardware complex. It's preset, optimized, in a certain way configured. So what we mean is that some kind of fine-tuning will be just minimal. You do it by certain instruction. And basically, there is no implementation product per se, speaking about the packs. And as for any support, this support would not be as clear and known if we speak about the regular project. So on the stage of operation of this pack, in terms of methodology or even idea, its support should also be minimal. But at the same time, based on experience, due to technical professionals or some specialized professionals, let's say in information security or IT, we can see that professionals are not enough. You still have to have some kind of service. And this service, this support, is not only for the program part, but also from the hardware part. So we do a request to combine these two things. And of course, a pack has this kind of software and hardware components. And the challenge is that many producers of the hardware, they have to pay more attention to serving hardware components. And also, based from our practice, based on our experience, manufacturers basically, they provide support, or they assume the function of serving or serving the hardware parts. You can see some diagrams of what it may look like, the first steps on developing architectural schemes. But like the first diagrams, so that teams involved in development would be synchronized. What you're seeing is some examples of one of the design solutions. So when we have like a basic components, it is not enough to decide what they're going to be like and to say, okay, it's a pack. Software, hardware, complex. But also, those things are just the tip of the iceberg, and mostly you have like a organizational component between them. If you marry those systems in between, it's a matter of time and investments, then you see how the product will be working throughout its whole life cycle, throughout several years. It depends, of course, on the life cycle of the hardware component. So it's becoming quite complex. And right now on the market, we can see different approaches of how to deal with it. Very often you see that, okay, you have this complex, you have this set, but there is also other things, and people want, and companies want to replace it. And they can see example from the Grafana open source solution, quite good, used for the visualization. It does not have any Russian analog. So people don't know how to do this. And this is also the matter of integration. So this is why developing such a hardware and software package, it is not only like the plans who are making those hardware. It is not only about the developers of software which are producing some specific product or a set of products. Right now we see that this is an integrated case and solution which requires a technological partner. And we're seeing that on one hand, yes, distributors are trying to expand their limits of where they're involved, and also system integrators. And this is why this system to institutionalize those software and hardware units will probably become like a new market niche for many companies on the IT market. I mean, different companies. And the final thing I would like to say is redistribution of risks and financial flows. Number one is changing financial flows. I mean, right now we're seeing the following situation, that basically, whenever we're speaking about these packs or the hardware and software complex, the lower block highlighted in green would be some stages where a company needs more investment, more man-staff and other resources. So on the stage of operation and implementations, company gets money and company gets biggest expenses in terms of manpower, investments. So main investments are right here. Of course, on the stage of the pre-design, the pre-projects, the companies are also connect when we're speaking about the integrated product. But this would not be obvious. Oftentimes, they do not, it's not being paid, it's not being put into your cost estimate. This is what is available on the market, and this is what we know. And but again, this is like a kind of gray zone. Speaking about these software hardware complexes, it will be supplied just once. There'll be no classic like tech support, but the clients still need a service, and the main volume of investments will be right there, just before the client bought it. So there is a change of financial flows. The payment is higher, but amount of payments they're smaller and they're squeezed in time. So the client is buying this PAC, software hardware complex, and then they're using it, even though next, very often you can see some kind of hard works in terms of supporting the hardware part and maybe upgrading some licenses or helping to fine-tune it, because the tools, the manuals for some of those complexes can be difficult, even though the clients can do it themselves. There are some partners who can also help them to do that. And the second point is risk redistribution, because now you have a different financial component. Now you have a different organizational communication, and therefore risk redistribution is happening. It's a cause and effect on the same time. And as you get more expertise in the market, these things will be somehow kind of connecting with one another. We'll be able to clarify them better. Compatibility risks are completely on a manufacturer. When you do implementations and the company can still somehow, they can do something, they can understand something is not matching, they can do fixing. That's why we have integrators. And now compatibility risks are at the producer side, the consumer, and the client have less of them, but there are some limitations. As for suppliers, sometimes also in terms of the hardware, because you're buying this whole complex, which will ensure the right productivity with certain models or certain features of these everythings. And this also applies to the crypto gates and other solutions in the information security. So these will be those classes of solutions where from a regulatory standpoint, from the stack, those hardware part should always be. Those solutions simply should be software and hardware sets. And also there'll be a different risk structure and payment structure. My time is up, unfortunately, and so I cannot give you more details. And if you need more information, please see me at my stand. And instead of conclusion, main points, I guess I'll simply sum up the final point that development of the software and hardware sets on the Russian market is a part of the public technological policies to increase technological sovereignty and independence. So it's going to be developed in terms of the normative regulation, and also in the market expertise, and with new solutions. I guess the formats will be changing, and also software and hardware sets are becoming like a hype in a way. So probably as time goes on, we will see only mature solutions and long-term solutions, and this business line will also be more and more relevant. It will be formalized. The market will be able to kind of sort itself out, and we'll be witnessing within the next upcoming years. So maybe we will come back to this in a year. Thank you.